Hi everyone and happy Monday. We have a page here from what I think is Enchanted Forest but could be Secret Garden. I will look it up and I will confirm it in the video title, details, etc. before I post them. Anyway, we've got lots of leaves and we've got a lovely door to colour. Now I was having a think about how to do the leaves and I remembered that I've got this chart here that I did for you, which is all sorts of different leaf colour combinations. So I thought we might do some of these on here. This is Prismacolor, which is what I'm going to be using today for a change. But we're not going to start with the leaves, we're going to start with the door. So I'm going to come in nice and closely to that door. Now we have brickwork around the door. Oops. Let's come out so you can see it. So we have brickwork all the way around, we have metalwork on the door, and we have the actual door. I think I'm going to actually start with this ornate work. Now looking at it carefully, if you look with me, you'll see that quite a lot of it is blacked in because it's quite small, and there are just a few areas which aren't. I'm tempted to either do these in black as well, just to, you know, really make it look a sort of black and old, or go for a sort of silvery type colour. We could use actually metallic gold or metallic silver. That might be a little different, I'm just looking at them in my set and I'm thinking, maybe we could try them. I don't use them at all. I don't even remember if I've ever used this metallic gold in the Prisma. Let's have a go. So I'm going to start down here. Oh, it's not. It's all right, isn't it? I like that. That's quite good. Fill in that. I'm wondering whether to use this on the handle as well. I mean, the thing with metallics is that you can shade with them. You can add other colours, but if you've got a set of different metallics, that can work. But if you've just got two, like we have here, only the gold and the silver, it makes it a little bit tricky. But I'm not going to worry, and I'm going to do the handle in the same. I'm just going to block it in. Now I also find with metallics, little tip, is the more you lay down on your page, I mean these are quite easy to lay down quite intensely because of them being Prismacolors, which are quite intense anyway, the more of a shine you get from them, and they're never ever going to be as shiny as you would get with a pen or paint or anything like that, because they are pencil after all. And if they're coloured metallics, which you can get in quite a few different sets, they will be quite muted in colour. What I am also going to do is put a little bit of shadow under this gold door handle. I was going to do it in black, but I'm wondering whether a grey or no, a brown. Now I'm doubting myself. What should I do? I think I will go I will go with the 90% French grey. It's not a brown or a grey, it's somewhere in between. And just put a little bit under the handle here. It's quite hard for me to see what I'm doing. Like that. So it looks like we've got a little bit of shadow. You probably can't even see. A little bit there. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, let's do the door. This is the bit I'm looking forward to. So I'm going to do a base brown colour first. So this is our light umber. I'm just going to go all over the door with the light umber to start with. Let's try and get you central-ish, not too wonky and drunk. So I want to colour it in this direction mostly, because this is the direction that I feel the wood is going to be in. You know, you get sort of wood grain, and we've got lines drawn on the door already by Johanna. Now the reason I've done the metallics and you know the hinges and stuff first is because I'm going to go over the lines a lot, and I thought it would work better that way round, that I was going over the top of that rather than trying to colour it after. I might be wrong, but it just helps me see it better. I can like, oh, there's the handle, best not go over that. I'm going to go over this black though because it's just printed on. Excuse me. So there is a possibility that I might be having my bathroom done this week on Friday, but I haven't heard anything. On recording of this video, I haven't yet heard anything. Basically, they were very honest with us. They said, you know, there might be a chance we can squeeze you in on X date. If not, we'll have to put you off till November. It sounds like a very long wait, but when you've got, you know, we want to go with a company that's popular, that, you know, has a lot of customers, because then you think, well, there's a lot of people in our area that do this sort of work, and so if they can do it right away, you're sort of thinking, well, it can't be that good, you know. And our one guy that we lined up to start with let us down. I think he just wasn't interested in doing quite such a large job. He usually does little plumbing jobs for us, which was absolutely fine. And so that's okay. And if we have to wait, we have to wait. The only thing is that we've had to order all the things, you know, the bit. Oh, I just coloured over the gold then. We had to order all of the parts that we need, you know, and it'll be delivered to us, and we'll have to store it until November. If the work's not being done till then, which is going to be a little bit of a pain, because we're still using the bathroom that is we have the problem with, because only the shower that's gone. There's a little hole in the floor which is under the shower mainly. So I'm not going to do any more with that. I'm just going to sharpen my dark brown, which I'm going to use next. I've got my hand crank sharpener here because I tend to do that with Prisma. It's a bit noisy, but it gives you a nice point. Yeah, so we're still using the bathroom because we can still use the sink and the loo. So we can't really put the all the bits and pieces in there. I'm going to go around the edge of the door here, because we've got this sort of frame bit on the outside, and I think it would, although I'm not sure if it's set in at all, because it's at the bottom as well. If the door opened outside that frame, you'd fall over that bit there. But anyway, doing it now. I should have coloured these screws in metallic, but anyway, it isn't. So yes, we'll have to find somewhere to store all this stuff. I'm sure it'll just end up staying in our downstairs hall, but yeah, it's just the way it is, unfortunately. The place we bought them from can't just store it for us, they don't have the room. So anyway, we're going to do these lines now. I'm going to sort of go over them and then do a bit either side. It looks a bit scruffy. The idea is it's supposed to look like the wood is quite gnarly and sort of old and worn and uneven and that sort of thing, so it's not supposed to be a nice smooth finish. And we're going to use some other darker colours on top as well to give us that same effect. And what you can do if you want is sort of leave a faded bit along the bottom, like sort of level, to look like it's got water in it and it's gone all faded and things like that. There's all sorts of sort of techniques you can use, but I'm going to keep mine reasonably even. And I mean, you know, with the sort of look of wear going across the whole door. I think this is an old door. I have done this door, I think it was this one, in one book in a rainbow, which was quite fun. You could just sort of take these bits as stripes, do different colours. I didn't want to do that today. It wasn't quite the look I was going for with this picture. I mean, I haven't really got it in mind, but you know, I haven't planned the whole thing, but I just wanted a wooden door. I knew that for sure. So you see, because we've got this sort of base colour underneath, even though the base colour was quite rough, it's starting to build up different layers of colour, and that gives things a more realistic feel. You know, if you just use one colour, it doesn't usually look very realistic, because things don't tend to be the same colour all over. You know, even this printed pencil, which has got an even paint colour, you can see it's lighter here where it's catching the light compared to the sides. So even something that might be newly painted and really evenly painted, which is quite difficult, would look sort of different. And this door, I'm sort of imagining that it's an old door and it's not been recently varnished or whatever, and the wood's sort of old and sort of maybe cracked and splintered and, you know, things like that. So all looking a bit messy, should we say. So it's quite an old picture, this one, for the planners. They tend to often be the newer pictures from the books. Now I want to do a bit on this outside as well. I know I did a sort of border which separated it off, but now I've decided I don't really want it to look too much like that. I'm thinking the border should be right along the brick edge, the shadow. So, oh, there's a bit in there that I missed. There we go. You can go horizontally on this bottom bit because it would be potentially the other way. So we're getting at our door handle really doesn't show up very much now. Perhaps that wasn't a very good idea, but hey, it's done now. Now I have my sepia. Again, I need to sharpen it because we need some sort of fairly good point on the door. There we go. Now for this one, I'm just going to do a few lines. I'm not going to colour quite so much of the door. So I'm going to probably actually go over the lines that are marked here first, and then see whether it needs some more. Probably I will add some more because I'm awkward like that. But it just looks like, you know, to sort of show us that it's made from different panels is what these lines are for, and I quite like that idea. Not to sort of keep them in. And I think they sort of almost add a texture look somehow to our door. Now if you don't have Prismacolors, I do have a conversion chart between Prismas and Polychromos, and potentially other pencils as well. I can't, to be honest, remember. I've made so many charts. If you go to the link in my description to my Ko-fi, you will find there are huge amounts of different charts. You may have to search to find ones if you want some. If you struggle, drop me a message in the comments. I'll go and have a look. I know how to find them easily. I can sort of find them in my editing area, if you know what I mean, of the shop, rather than having to look in the shop front, which is where you will be looking, and I can direct you. I can do this bit across here. Look, there's quite a deep line here. Just going to fill that in. So yes, you can have a good old look and see. So I'm going to put a few random lines around now. And you might find some charts which are useful. They're all free, so I just do them because they're useful for you, and there's the opportunity to leave a little donation if you want. But if you do, make sure you download a load of charts in as a thank you from me. And there's all sorts of things. I've just been working on actually some colouring book index sheets. Basically I list every page in a particular colouring book, and have a space for you to write the date you started and finished it and what colouring materials you used. I've done one for I've even done one for Magical Worlds, which is Johanna Basford's new book, because she did a flip through, so I was able to make one for it. I've just been asked to do a load for Hannah Carlson's books, which I hadn't done before. I can put some shadow with this under the door handle, hoping that it might help it to stand out. It might go all the way around the edge because it's faded back, because the colour is, that gold is quite muted. Hopefully that might help a little bit to help it to stand out. I notice here, around here, it's quite pale where because I've been trying to avoid colouring on top of the hinge, so I'm just going to put a little bit extra in those areas just to, so it doesn't look too odd. I'm just going to do a bit on the edges here. this is just a few lines along here, and then we're gonna put a little bit of shadow in from the bricks. It's really straightforward. So just right on the edge, just put a layer. It's that easy. Just work your pencil, sorry, fidgeting my chair, up, all the way up. And all the way around. There we go. I think there probably is some shadow under the leaves as well, which I will do in just a minute. Now the leaves are looking quite brown where I have gone over them by mistake, so I'm going to do those potentially in a darkish colour, but we're going to worry about those later. It's fine, not going to worry anyway. We've got a brickwork to do. What I'm going to do here is a base colour and then go over it around the edges and a little bit darker, I think. I'm just looking at the way they've been drawn. We will start, I think cold greys, warm greys, maybe the warm greys. Yeah, let's go with this. This is the warm grey 20%. I'm going to colour over all of them, give them base. Like the door, it doesn't have to be really neat, but just try and get a reasonably even amount of colour on each. As good as you can do. It doesn't matter that much. Now I'm looking at this and I'd really like to do a background on this page of sort of green, you know, to because I've seen it done, I've seen people draw bricks in, which is really good idea, but it's much harder and more time consuming. Could use a brick stencil to put them in, but you still got to work your way around all of these leaves. And what is much easier, in my opinion, is to colour all the leaves in shades of green and then do a green background. And then if you go over the leaves with the green background, it doesn't matter at all because it will just work with the green that you've used. As long as you use a similar sort of green tone. And it's quick, easy, simple. So that's what I'm thinking at this particular point is what I will probably do. Whether I change my mind or not remains to be seen. But that's my sort of planning. What I do try and do at this point, if I want to decide if I'm doing a background, because I need to sort of plan around that. So that's what I'm saying, thinking it's going to be green, but when I apply it, it will definitely go over the leaves because they're so dominant and it's so difficult to avoid them. So I'm just grabbing the warm grey. What's this? 50%. I'm going to sharpen it. So I'm definitely going to be sort of overlapping these, so I want to do a colour that will work with that overlapping. Here we go. So here is our warm grey 50%, and what I'm going to do is there's a line around the outside of each of these that Johanna has drawn, so I'm going to go inside there and put this colour, and I'm going to put it on more heavily on the edge and then sort of try and fade it towards the middle bit. Like that. I don't know if that's what Johanna intended. She may not have intended anything, to be honest. But it's nice to have a few colours, as I said before. It gives a slightly more realistic view, which it's not, certainly not realistic, but you know, not using the same colour all the time and not using an even colour all the time helps. Sometimes it's just much easier to do that. It depends what mood you're in. I sometimes do just block colouring, especially on things like mandalas. No. Although I did one the other day where I was blending. It was nice, she says modestly. It was sort of reds and oranges and yellows. They come out really vibrant, which was fun. There we go. and moving all the way through. My husband's next door watching Olympics. I've been watching it, but I thought I'd better come and do some work. It's been fun. There we go. So we're going to move on to some leaf work. There's a lot to do, and as I said, we've got these designs which I brought through to look at, but as I'm going to be doing sort of a green background, and I'll probably do it in this sort of these sorts of shades, then I'm not going to be wanting to do this or this or this or any of these sort of brown or greens. So it's going to be more likely to be this. Now that's Kelly green, apple green, scone green, but it's probably olive green, lime peels, chartreuses, that sort of greens. I'm just going to have a look. My lime peel is getting very small. That's lime peel and chartreuse. We've got the there's the apple green. Is that the apple green? Yeah, but we can go a bit darker. I think the moss green is usually quite good with those. There we go. So we've got that sort of mix of colour. Let's put that away. This is another available on my Ko-fi. Now we're just going to start with these very small ones, and I'm thinking they might be best done just in one colour because they are so very small. So I'm going to sharpen my apple green, and because I like it, and do them in this colour. And just do them in apple green. See how good this is? My dial sharpener, by the way. It's like that. Right, let's do these now. They might have benefited from being a little bit darker because of me going over the edges, but I'm sure it'll be okay. So we're just, as I say, blocking these in because they're small. It's very sunny. As I'm saying, it's going to get unbearably hot tomorrow. It's going to be, I think he said 28, which is 82 for those of you who work in the Fahrenheit world. That's way too hot for me. And when I was young, I'm sure we didn't get many temperatures that high. You know, it would have been our max summer, but some years we have 30s, high 30s. I've even had one day when it was 40. Oh, that was a mad day. I remember it well. I wasn't at home either, so I was like, oh, how am I going to manage? I was wearing my jeans because they were the only trousers I had. But I did have a linen shirt, I remember, but it was so hot. But fortunately, I was visiting someone, which I was out, and they had fans on. So that was helpful. Well, I have some good news about my camera. I've been extremely lucky, and it's I've got a bit of a fix, so that's good. This, I mean, I'm using it now, but an even better one that doesn't set. That means I won't have to keep checking the batteries all the time and worrying about them going flat. So I'm really very pleased with that. So that'll be very good. Excited about getting that. I haven't quite got it sorted out, but I will soon. But at least we've got a way to properly record, because you may have seen the videos I made with my phone, although it gave you something to watch. They weren't exactly good, I didn't think anyway. They were okay, passable, but not really what I wanted. I don't really know how people manage, but I suppose having a better tripod probably helps, and probably having a more expensive phone with a better camera. Mine is a cheap phone. Had some fireworks last night. My goodness, I was almost nodding off to sleep, and it was so loud I nearly fell out of bed. Not really, but I jumped. and much to the children's hilarity. But it was so loud. We looked out, we couldn't see them. There's so many trees. If we'd gone upstairs, we might have seen them better. But there were a couple of really high rockets at the end that we managed to see. Now what I'm going to do is there are some other leaves with this small design here, and I'm going to colour these as well with the same colour. I'm sort of going to try and do some sort of consistency. What I think I might do is sort of do little blocks, so where there's a leaf that looks the same as another leaf, we'll sort of do those with the same colour combo. I think it'll work. I'm sure it's probably how I've done pages like this before. Yeah, so the last few, the penultimate one was sort of the gold sparkles, which was really pretty. And then the last one was one of those called chrysanthemum ones with lots of red. I really don't like fireworks, to be honest. I mean, those were pretty, but, you know, I think of people with children and babies. It's so late, you know. I remember, you know, when my boys were little babies, one of them didn't sleep well. And I would go to bed really early so that I could get some sleep before his last feed, and you know, and so we would have all been asleep by then, and to then wake up and you have to settle them again. Oh, just so inconsiderate. And then the animals and the pollution and everything. I think, you know, in the UK we do something called bonfire night, which America I know you don't do. It's a very odd tradition that someone tried to blow up Parliament on the 5th of November, and we remember it by having fireworks and bonfires. Very strange. Got a few more at the bottom, some here and some here, some can do those. So we have bonfire night for that. So we have fireworks that evening, and then a New Year's tradition for fireworks has sort of started as well. I think that started at the millennium. So we have that too. So it's 2 nights a year. And to be honest, I think that's plenty, you know. And if you, at least they're all contained in one evening, usually. Although, actually, if bonfire night's not if it's on a weekday, then sometimes people wait till the weekend, you know, so kids can stay up till it's dark and things like that. And public displays tend to be on a weekend. We have one here on a Monday, always, the Monday before, because it's held in a school playing field, and the Monday before it's always half term, so the school isn't there. So they get a funfair in on the playing field and they do the fireworks display. It's all for charity. And then they can clear it all away before the kids are back, boys I should say, it's a boys' school, before the boys get back to school. So that's, you know, but again, organised displays I think are okay in a way, because it's, as I say, it's all sort of contained into one time period. Now I feel that I need to do these in this colour too, but it just would be odd not to. Husband is printing things. What he's doing. I'm going to be nosy when I finish them out. Now here, right down here, look, we've got a few little ones. I'm going to ignore those because I should just shut the door. Maybe thought I could hear. It's okay. Because there's only a few, and I think it's going to look odd if I colour this all in one way and then those differently. So we'll leave those in the same way we coloured these the same, or else they would look odd. As always, the spine is getting in my way. Now we've got a symmetrical pattern. I think it's only one line of symmetry down the middle, as far as I can tell, so I stopped to have a look. So that's okay. So it just means we need to do the right and left side the same. We can do that. Now, we doing for time? I'm just looking at the different groups of leaves, so let me come out and we'll talk about it. Well, I'll talk about it. You can talk about it, but I'm afraid I won't hear you. So these leaves here look the same as these leaves here. So we will do those all alike. This bunch here don't look like any others. These here look like these here. And these here look like these here. So I think we've got 3 or 4 different designs of leaf to do. Roughly. But these look like they stand out to me as being individual. They don't look like any of the others, so I think I'll do these now, because I don't want to do loads because I'm sort of going to finish fairly soon. So I think we'll start with the moss green on these. Here it is. And I will do the base of the leaves with the moss green. So I want a more intense layer here, and then just sort of fade like that. Okay. Now, yes, these are Prismacolors, and yes, they do take a slightly different technique to polychromos, but this is a technique that I find works for polychromos and Prismacolors. So just fade it. It helps you to be able to blend it nicely. There we go. Now the main difference between Prisma and Poly is the core and the softness of it. The Prismacolor's core can be moved around on the page. Sorry, I've got my hand in a strange position, make my voice sound weird. So basically, if I put this layer down here and I get my blender, I can actually push it around the page. With the polychromos, they're very hard pencils, and once it's down on the page, it's down on the page. You can press around with the blender, but what it tends to do is just sort of burnish it in, rather than you can't actually move it. So it's a little bit different. What some people do, even so I understand, is put a really intense layer of colour at the bottom and just use a blender to push it along the page. I like to use a different colour. For me, it's a little bit more interesting with regards to colour, because you get a different colour then. But it's it does work. Now, what I'm thinking is these leaves here look more like the ones here, but I'm going to do them all on the same stem, so I'm just going to do them all the same. Now, of course, you don't have to do your leaves in green. You can do them in autumnal browns, oranges, yellows and reds, or you can go completely different and do them in purples, pinks, blue, all sorts of colours. I have done leaves in all sorts of different colours. Now that bit there isn't actually on this side, because the picture is cut off more on the right than the left. I think that tends to happen a lot on the planner. But that's okay. What you will find is if you are doing this in the original book, there's probably a lot more leafage, being the right word, foliage, around than there is on this page. I suspect this has been cropped a bit. I'm guessing, because I can't remember. So you might have to be adding some more different colour compos if you've got some more unique leaves, or you could just say copy this one because it's only little. There's only a little bit of it, so you could maybe copy this and do it on other sets of leaves, especially if they're sort of down here, or at the bottom or at the top, sort of quite far away from here, so it would draw it together in a way, but make it interesting. So we'll just take this up here a little bit. Oh Yeah, it's very sunny today, but it's not warmed up yet, which is good. Very pleasing. When I came down to the kitchen, my son was complaining about how cold it was and put his jumper on. But he said his room up right at the top of the house is very warm. I'm not surprised. Just get warm up there. But he's getting better at airing it out because he remembers to open this window. So here's our lime peel. It's really small. I'm actually going to use a more regular sharpener. It's not going to fit into my dowel. I'm going to have to use just a normal one. I'm just using this barrel sharpener. It's quite good. It's got this. I haven't actually put it to a really sharp point on purpose. I'm going to do this side first and get it over and done with because of those the spiral bit I don't like going next to. Hence I'm trying to keep my hand on the table for a bit, well away from it. Now my aim here is to try and get rid of white paper, smush the pencil around a bit and hopefully have more intensely limey on the tip of our leaf compared with the base. Now with these, they're not as see-through as polychromos, so if you put this down too heavily it will actually obscure the moss green and you'll barely be able to see it. So I'm trying to get that the balance right so that although I'm putting a bit down here to cover this area, I'm not putting it on as intensely as near the tip where there's nothing and I really want it to show up. There we go, and then move on to this one. There's a train going by. I'm suddenly really thirsty. What time is it? Yeah, 1:30. I always want to drink around 1:30, even though I have lunch at 12 and I have a drink after. I start feeling thirsty again. It's quite strange. I think it might just be a habit. But I don't think there's any harm in having lots to drink. Maybe there is, I don't know. I think if you have too much it's bad for you, like really, really loads. And I don't have caffeine, I don't have sugary drinks, so that helps. I was actually talking to my hygienist about drinks because she said you drink fizzy drinks, squashes, juices, that sort of thing, fruit drinks. I was like, no. She said, alcohol? I was like, no. She went, nor me. But she said people, I say just tea and coffee, and she said people ask her if they should give up tea and coffee, you know, because it stains your teeth, but she says no way. She says, what would you drink? Water, you know, and that would be it. So she's like, no, you can have tea and coffee, but I'd have decaf, so I think it's good. But you know, of course some people don't like decaf because they think it's dangerous because of the decaffeination method. Sometimes it's done using chemicals, sometimes it's done using water, but apparently they make sure all the chemicals are gone before they make it into a drink. There are rules about it all, but I hope it's okay because I do like my tea and coffee. And I suspect there'll be things that we eat and really enjoy now that as we get older, sort of 10-20 years time, they'll suddenly say, oh, that's really bad for you. But I try and just abide by what I think and feel is healthy and what seems to suit my body, you know, both with regards to the types and the quantity, you know. Like I can't eat lots at night because makes me feel sick. I get reflux and things like that, and that stops me sleeping. So, you know, whereas some people, I used to when I was younger, find that if I didn't have something near to bedtime, I couldn't sleep. So, you know, I've changed as well over the years. So, interesting, but I've changed a lot about what I have, the sorts of things that I eat and the times that I eat and things like that. So I think that has probably impacted what affects me at night, in that I used to eat more sort of carbs, I suppose, carbohydrate foods, and then I felt like I needed something to eat later. Might be that I had too much sort of white stuff, I guess. I don't know. Right, there is some done. I'm going to finish there for today. I don't really know how long this is going to take us, but I need to go and get a coffee, and I think we've done a lot, so that's that. I might introduce some more greens because you know, we haven't got that many, but we'll see how it goes because we've only got a few more groups, clusters of leaves, and then that might be it. So I'll just see how it all goes, as I keep saying. Oh, I've got hiccups now. I might do something with our door handle to make it stand out better, like putting some glitter on it or something, but I don't know whether it's really appropriate. But not today. We're going to make that do. So have a lovely Monday. Thank you so much for watching and happy colouring.